It's three guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, two guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Okay, quick UFL check. UFL check. Whose teams won last week?
I think they lost.
My Stallions are going to skull drag your team this weekend, Mackey.
Uh-oh.
My undefeated Stallions.
Oh, we play each other this
are
week.
going
That's right.
after your battle.
Steak and a beer,
baby.
Steak and a beer.
100%. Adrian
Steak and a beer.
Martinez for MVP. Stallions all the way. They are going to crush the Cacaws.
Steak and a beer.
Cacaw.
Anyways,
Steak
Alex,
and a beer next week.
I'll do steak and a beer.
Yeah,
I'll do steak
next
and a beer
week.
on this.
Since
And
we're
yeah,
all here
you're-
in the same city.
We're all going to be in the same city next week. Okay.
Yep. Steak and a beer, baby.
Am I allowed to come watch film with the offensive lineman?
Absolutely.
Mac.
You are an honorary offensive lineman. And
Okay.
this camp is very close, by the way, so you should feel honored.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
excited.
Trying to get
We have our Brute third annual Brute development camp next week up in Eagan,
right.
Minnesota at the gym. Got players coming in from Vandy, Kentucky, Louisiana, Minnesota, North Dakota State. Like we got a good crew of guys coming in to work for 2-3 days. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We have a bunch of fun things to get to on the show, including a big boy question of the week regarding an all-time classic roast. And I have a fun exercise I'm going to put you guys through. Two quick questions. One, what are we teaching the offensive linemen next week? And how can I help? Do you want me to give them a film tutorial, all the things that I now know about being a professional offensive lineman? Just put me in, coach. You let me know.
Mackey, you're not ready. You're not ready for that because here's what's going to happen. And I found out,
5-0. No, it's not.
You're going to say something and they're going to have a rebuttal question. You're going to go, shit. I don't know why. Just because Boone and Jay say it all the time.
When I went to Mexico during college spring break after taking my third level Spanish class, I'm going to confidently go up to the market here and I'm going to say something in Spanish and bargain for the price. And then they start talking back to you and it's like,
never mind.
Okay, adios.
Never mind. Yeah, I am so out of this. I'm so out of my element, dude. They come back with some really good rebuttal questions.
Baño.
No, okay.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Hey, you know what we're teaching them? We're teaching them.
Library. Right.
Honestly, we're teaching them to be better. And it's one of these things where it's a quick camp. We bring them in. We do a lot of work. We feed them a ton, though. For work, we feed. Obviously, that's a fair trade. But we teach them how to be better players, how to be more controlled, how to shoot their hands better, how to work with different hand sets, in the run game, how to run off the ball, how to be more powerful, more physical. And then when we break down film, we're just showing them stuff that maybe about them or maybe about stuff about the NFL that we're looking at, like, hey, this is what everyone's trying to get to. This is one of the things that we preach in this gym. This is what we're trying to hammer home. This is what everyone's starting to get into the tendency of and the trends. And, we're on top of a lot of it, talking to coaches and stuff like that. So it's more, hey, where do you see this league going? What do you see about this footwork? What do you think about this? How do you feel? And a lot of the coaches are like, yeah, it's what I'm teaching. If you can teach it faster, it'd be great. So it's a lot of, hey, and one of the great things that I think that Jay does is breaks down the film and shows them, hey, from a scout's eye view, this is what we're looking at. Like, it's easy to say, hey, yeah, we won this rep, we gained 15 yards, and the running back did a great thing, and the coaches are happy, and so they're not going to get mad at anybody. But as a scout, you see things like, got away with holding here. Like, just shitty footwork, terrible hands, like out of position, didn't get the next player that could have made it a touchdown, whatever it is. Like, these are the things that the scouts are looking for, and it's always an effort-based thing. So it's kind of like a, hey, we looked at some film, let's pull some up, because I think a lot of guys get really, really excited when we're like, yeah, by the way, we have all your all-22. Like, we can watch film, we can do things, and we can have fun with it, and the boys appreciate it, and it's kind of like a, wow, I never saw it from this lens, where you're like, yeah, dude, it's another world. Like, we're looking at you to see why shouldn't we draft you. Oh, there's why we shouldn't draft him right there, his feet. And then instantly you're like, if you can come back and fix this, though, then they go, ooh, this guy's been working. This guy really cares about his craft. He must have seen the same thing we saw. Ooh, he's smart. Ooh, he's really smart. It just helps them put them a step ahead going into their senior, junior year.
Fogo de Chao, where are we feeding them?
No.
Not this year.
Not this year. I got held back. I want everybody to know that. I used to go crazy, and Jay will tell you, I ordered so you go there to eat the steak, and I would order extra steak on top of it. Like, they would, at some point, Training House came
I thought
in
it was
and
all you can eat. Don't you just
Yes.
pay like
Hey,
$90?
listen.
It's all you can eat. No, shut up. It's all you can eat. And we'd show
Different
up,
group.
right? We'd show up, and there was supposed to be 30 people originally at this dinner. Well, Alex forgot to call and tell them that now it's more like 17. And we had seafood towers on every table. They had the filet, not the filet,
Wagyu.
the porterhouse Wagyu on the salt block. And I'm like, they just keep bringing meat out. Like, you don't have to order extra meat. And he's like, I just wanted it. I wanted all dessert trays and platters.
You literally have to stop them from giving you more meat with the all-inclusive price.
And
right?
we still went through all that food. Like, we crushed.
Oh, yeah, we crushed.
Dude, we crushed everything. And then they were literally came to me like, yo, we're good. Y'all, you beat us. You won.
I'm trying to envision if you're just like a family hanging out at Fogo de Chao and 17 offensive linemen come rolling.
Because when we did it, we had to roll in buses, right? Like, so we would drive the big van. So we would get out in like 2 groups. And you could just see everybody like, oh, my God, these are the biggest humans. And it was just the longest line of guys. I was the last one to walk in, and I was dying because some of these dudes are just
we had
massive.
we had Patrick Paul last year from Houston who went second round to Miami. Dude's like 6'9", 330 pounds, 36.5-inch arms. Like,
people are like, oh, my God.
Me and Boone were picking him up from the airport, and we're like, oh, there he is. And like, you just saw him.
Couldn't miss him.
You just saw him from like 200 yards away, just a head and shoulders above everybody else.
Looking around. Patrick, come to us.
You're
over
with
here.
us. Over here, big fella.
It's dude, it's a lot of fun and it's a great time. And honestly, it's a chance to be all about football and at the same time see where some of these kids' heads are at and try and help them going into their final year so that they can get drafted higher or step into the league a little bit faster and have a better opportunity than a lot of kids have.
My second question before we get to the big boy question of the week is it's 12:30 p.m. on a Tuesday here, middle of a work week.
I know. I'm thinking the same thing.
Is Jeremiah drinking a beer right now?
Is that a Modelo?
Listen to me. I don't care if it's 9 a.m. I don't care if it's 10 p.m. You finish mowing your lawn, you drink a beer. That's just the way it goes. I don't care. That is a written rule in this house. The second you finish with your lawn, nice trimmed up. That might be trimmed up.
That's a zero
solid
fuck
lines. All the dog.
What's the ding for?
That's a zero fucks given fine. Oh, that's a. I walked into the meeting, no notebook, no pen. I don't give a fuck. Fuck this team meeting. I don't even need to be here. That's when you're like, all right, he's hot. Ding him.
Modelo Oars too. Solid. Listen to me.
I don't even know what to say right now.
I finished mowing my lawn before this.
That may have been a false spell.
Finish mowing my lawn. You drink a beer in this house.
Hey, I'm cool with that. You're just lucky. Himself.
You're lucky I didn't have like IPAs. If I had IPAs in there, I'd be hammering those things down. But this Modelo Oars, solid.
Hey,
they
tell me you're a pussy
Light.
without telling me you're a pussy.
Hey,
I'll drink
Mexican
these
beer.
IPAs all day.
I am just bringing my
double hop,
out.
double barrel brew.
I'm half Mexican. I'm half Mexican. Okay, Modelo.
Nobody said anything
Maybe
about
we'll get a
that.
sponsor. Maybe we'll get a sponsor. Modelo
Well,
Oars.
only two of us can drink, so it'd be a shitty sponsorship.
You know what's not a shitty sponsorship? Our friends at Aura. Yes, in fact, you can help this show grow by signing up for a free trial to help protect your security online. So it's helping you, and you can help us by signing up for a 2-week free trial at aura.com. That's AURA.com/O-line committee. And this is where Aura comes in, by the way. It's all about protection, the sponsor of today's podcast. Aura is all-in-one protection from identity theft, scams, and online threats across all of your devices for your whole family. Prices start at $12 a month. But again, you can get a free 2-week trial at aura.com/O-line committee. The odds of falling victim to an online crime are 1 in 4. Well, there's like 12,000 people that consumed this podcast last week. So like 3,000 of you, according to this information, are going to fall victim to an online scam. Well, Aura comes in and helps make sure that you have strong passwords. They monitor account activity. They consider credit freezes or fraud alerts from credit bureaus. They handle all of these things for you within one app that you can, again, get a free trial for it. Aura.com/O-line committee. It's extremely easy to set up, very affordable. Like I said, starting at $12 a month. So thank you to our friends at Aura for helping to power this episode and the O-line committee, boys.
I'm all about the protection. I love it.
Yeah, Google your name and see what happens.
No,
yeah,
don't do
a lot
that.
of information that you probably don't want out there, folks. Okay,
Don't do that.
Internet's forever.
it is. Hey, kids, we're going to be teaching the kids next Monday through Wednesday at the
Yeah.
Brute
Listen,
committee.
yeah.
Actually, you'd be surprised. That's one of the things I do talk to them about. Be like, listen, right now, start scrubbing your social media.
Scrub.
Right? Remember a couple episodes back where I was like, I had that Facebook post. I was like, F you, Phillip Rivers. Really wish I would have taken that down. Like, but that was a different age, right? That was 2014. Everything was new.
Like now that would have
Anymore,
been seen differently
dude,
if Phillip was on the team now.
Remember when Mitch Trubisky got drafted and all of a sudden a tweet from like 12 years ago was like, I love kissing titties, right? Like you can't have that. You can't have that out there anymore. You gotta
As
go
much
through
as we
and
appreciate it and we
scrub.
think it's fucking hilarious.
You got to go through and scrub that stuff because the
Dude.
NFL is digging and digging deep to find
so
your skeletons.
fucked up, dude. You can't tell me that's not messed up because some of these
Doesn't matter.
kids, and I'm not saying it's right to have a phone at like 14 because it's not. I don't fucking care what anyone says. That's stupid shit. But when they put shit out there, you can't go back at a 14-year-old and be like, can you believe you wrote this? I'd be like, yeah, he's fucking 14, dude. Have you met a 14-year-old? Do you know what they talk about? It's terrible.
There's no one I hate more in life than myself reading my Facebook posts from 2010.
Oh,
Like when you get the like on this day 14 years ago and you're like, oh,
You were a dipshit.
God,
Yeah.
I wrote that? What was wrong with me? Like, where you like me and my wife's walls back and forth. It's like, I love you. Oh, I miss you. I'm like,
so
like,
Public
what is
for everyone to see.
wrong with me?
I knew you were a pussy.
Oh my god!
See, the best thing about never being on any like Facebook or any of that nonsense is I don't ever have to worry about this.
That's
shit.
a good thing for you because you
Not
don't
even
have
kidding you.
Like,
No.
at
You
least-
just have Instagram, right?
That's
all
it,
you
and you
have.
can't get in trouble on Instagram. And if you do, it's like,
You could definitely get in
I
trouble.
mean,
Instagram.
come on, I'm not on
posted that-
OnlyFans.
you
I am
posted
not
that-
an OnlyFans
You did
account.
post
okay?
that
I'm not
song
kidding.
that you did post that
Listen,
song that
listen.
was slightly
hey.
questionable.
I wasn't singing it, and I didn't see the lyrics. You did, and thank God,
But
because
you
my
posted
God,
it to your
dude,
account.
scared the shit out of me. Oh my God, are we getting into
Dude,
this? Can we talk
yeah,
about our
dude,
first
hold on.
mic?
One
Can we
quick-
please
dude,
talk
quick-
about this fucking mic? I am
Hold
so
on,
excited.
quick story, dude. Like to your point, the first time I ever I got offered a full-time hosting gig at ESPN Twin Cities when I was 24 years old, and I had been on Twitter for like probably 3 or 4 years. And the guy that I was being offered a job to co-host a radio show with, Patrick Royce, longtime legendary sports columnist in Minneapolis, and I couldn't stand him as a fan growing up. Like I'd read his stuff, and he would drive me nuts. He was so negative. But now I'm being offered a chance to be like the young spark plug co-host to this old curmudgeonly. They're going to pair us together, and we met at a coffee shop. It was me, Patrick, and then like the boss that hired us, and we want you guys to do a show together. It'll be you guys. We're bringing in Tom Pelissero. We're going to start a new Minnesota sports brand here. I left that meeting, went to my Twitter account, and did a search for Phil Mackey, Patrick Royce. What have I tweeted about him?
Yeah.
The first thing that pops up was old fat troglodytes like Patrick Royce need to blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Delete.
Delete everything.
Yep.
Go on. Go
Okay,
on.
big boy question of the week to start us off here.
Here we go.
On this
Here we
O-Line
go.
Committee podcast. Click that like button and the subscribe button on the O-Line Committee YouTube
Almost
channel.
20.
Almost.
Oh, so
It's been
close.
kind of a slow crawl to get to
I
20.
know,
We're
it's
gonna
driving
get
me
there.
nuts.
We're gonna
It's
get
my
there.
fault. It's my
You
fault.
guys.
It's the language.
Point the thumb, not the finger.
This mic is not going to make this show any better. By the way, this is the show that if you are not in the mood to hear it, you should turn it off. Like it's going
Well,
to be hilarious.
The big boy question of the week is, how would you grade the Tom Brady roast on Netflix from a couple nights ago?
A 10. A fucking 10.
She's a 10.
Dude. A 10. A fucking 10.
10.
Dude, it was. I swear. Okay, so listen. I was probably like everybody else. Oh, how funny could it be? Bill Belichick, like they're not going to do anything. I'm not kidding you. It changed the way I look at Tom Brady. Like, number one, he had to eat all that shit. And the minute they brought up Giselle, he was like, I instantly regret this. I think it was like Kevin Hart who walked out and first said it, right? And he was instantly like, fuck. It's 3 hours of just this. And I was like, here we go. Now, I didn't get to watch the whole thing because obviously, I was a softball attorney, but I got to catch all the highlights of what everybody was saying. And, dude, they went fucking hard, dude. Like,
yeah,
they went
I
a
didn't
little
get-
too hard at some
No, they
point.
didn't.
Like,
No chance, dude. But that's the thing. Like,
man,
they
that
brought,
Hernandez things was a
they
little
brought-
bit hard, dude.
The
They
Hernandez
brought-
stuff was wild, dude.
They brought comedy back.
Oh, there's no question they did. It
Comedy
was
has
hilarious.
been this like tiptoe. Like Bill
Be
Burr's one of my
careful.
favorite comedians. I listen to his Monday morning podcast all the time, and like he talks about all the time of like comedy can't be comedy anymore because everyone's offended,
Yeah.
everyone gets hurt, and this like didn't care. No one on
no,
that
no,
stage
dude.
cared at all. I mean,
Zero.
from the word go. Like they're just taking shots.
Bledsoe to start the
Bledsoe
not
was
today,
amazing.
Bledsoe.
Dude,
I was
Bledsoe
like, oh
was
my god,
incredible.
dude. He went after him. Like, what did he say? One thing you'll never have a 28-year marriage. I was like, oh my god, they're fucking Hey, listen, there
My
may have
anniversary
been a
was
lot of
yesterday.
jabs, right? There was a lot of jabs, and I wonder how much of a little bit of a truth and like I finally get to say what I want to say to you. Like when Julian Edelman was going at Belichick, and then like all that back and forth was super. But the best had to be when Tom was like, "Hey, don't say that shit again." Like
About
the
Kraft?
minute, yeah,
About
the
He
minute,
got
Kraft?
legitimately
Hey, the minute-
offended. Yes.
dude, the minute he was like, "How about that massage parlor?" You saw Tom kind of sit up and go.
stood
like-
up?
He,
He
was
walked
like,
up to him.
no,
He walked
no,
up
but
and
like,
goes, "Don't
if
say
you
that
look
shit
right
again."
away, he kind of turned sideways, like, "Yo, look at me, now." And that's when Jeff Ross didn't look, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna come fucking tell you then. Don't say that shit again."
Dude, that was a great glimpse into
Baller
Tom Brady's
move.
personality too. Where hey,
Yes.
I got thick skin, but there is a line.
Don't
and I
come
will
after-
end you if
don't.
you cross that line.
If you go after Kraft, like, now I'm gonna be honest, that was kind of stupid because everybody
Why
knows that
would you
Tom,
be there?
dude.
Why would you be there, Kraft?
Dude,
You know
oh.
that you're just low hanging fruit, dude.
Oh, for sure.
Like the,
But, like,
the low hanging.
But to
fruit
go
of
after
Kraft?
Kraft in front of Tom, like, because everybody knows that Tom and Kraft are like boys till the end, dude, like forever. And now that
How
Tom's kinda-
bombed must Kraft have been to stumble up on
Oh.
stage with that shot glass? Belichick like begrudgingly walks over, but Kevin Hart got those guys to do a shot together, man.
fucking
That was
hilarious.
crazy.
It was
Dude.
It was Drew Bledsoe. I mean, I'm still like I got the highlights. I'm gonna rewatch the whole thing because I didn't have 3 hours to just sit down and watch it. But dude, the shots at Gronk too were so good.
On the Bledsoe thing for a second. On the so Brady got up there at the end, right? And he starts going down, it was that fateful day in September of 2001 when two jets crashed into Drew Bledsoe on the sideline. Oh my God.
Bad.
So good, dude. Let it be comedy. Let comedy be
Dude.
comedy, man.
Bro,
like I loved
they
all
let
the,
it go. They let
I
it go.
loved all the people afterwards. They're like, "Oh, 9/11's not funny. Murder's not funny." I'm like, no, but in that instance, it's hysterical. Like in a roast, like Nikki Glazer, she's like, "You have
Oh,
a ring.
Nikki
You have a
killed
ring,"
it.
and then she goes, "Aaron Hernandez had a ring around his neck." I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
What was the
Dude,
other one?
she let it go.
Kevin Hart is sitting on the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out when he hung himself. Like what?
Who said that? Who was the guy that said that? Because he was
was that Hinchcliffe who said
Dude,
that?
Yes,
Tony
he was
Hinchcliffe is
fucking hilarious.
the MVP of that whole thing.
Hilarious.
I
Oh,
watched
my
him
God.
open for Rogan a couple years ago, and he was exactly the same. He came out there in a cowboy hat, like that dude was just walking up and down, shots at Chrysler, shots at Kardashian, like
Dude.
just everyone was not safe. If you were in
The
that
shots
building,
at Kardashian were hilarious.
Dude.
I thought that was
By the
funny
way,
as
I
fuck.
credit, dude. She knew exactly what was going to happen, and
Oh.
she
Yes, she
still
did.
showed up.
She showed up.
Like, okay, let's
Front
do
row.
it. Yeah.
She knew it was coming.
Props to you, Kim Kardashian.
how drunk do you think everyone was by the end of that thing?
Oh, pretty
'Cause
fucked up.
Dude, at the beginning of it, they're housing like Bledsoe. Dude, I was like, do you need a refill in the middle of your set, dude? Like every joke was just like hammer the rest of the cap, hammer the rest of the cap.
Dude, Tom was literally double fisting at one point, like drinking this one. The minute they brought up like the 35th like Giselle joke, he was like, "Fuck it, I'll drink both of them at the same
Dude,
time.
talk
Like,
about
just
the
let
ju-
it go."
talk about the
They did
jujitsu.
jujitsu. So I could beat his ass. I was like, dude, this is hilarious. It has gone to a
I
new
thought Tom
realm.
slayed it. Tom, the two funniest jokes that Tom told after sitting there for 2.5 hours. One was, he goes, yeah, you guys are right. I do miss the love of my life. Football. Yeah, pause, football. But then he torches Peyton Manning too. He says, Peyton,
crushed him.
You've lived in Denver, you've lived in Tennessee, but one place you will always live is in my shadow.
Dude, it's going to be, I'm telling you, because now the roast can just let it go. And I feel like football, that's how football, that just showed you what the locker room is like. And I'm not
Oh,
even kidding you.
100%.
That was an inside glimpse of what it's like every single day. But like
Just
you can,
roasting people
yes,
with
because you
wild
can
random
do that because
every
you know
day.
it's not going anywhere. Like everyone's just going to fuck with everybody. And when the minute coaches come in, you're like, shut up.
Dude,
And then they
at
leave
one
and you go
point-
right back to fucking with each other. Dude, it was that's exactly what that was. Then Julian Edelman calling out Belichick. Remember when he was like, what did he say? What was the high school football team that could do it better? Because we used to hear the same goddamn thing. I'll call Eden
Foxborough
Prairie
High
football.
School.
Yeah, Foxborough High School could have made that play. And he was like, bullshit. The only offer you got was Foxborough High School. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, there is no more give a fucks. Like, dude, that's an awesome team, though. Like,
Do
you
they
can
ask
tell
the
those guys
F1
are
drivers? Do they ask the F1 drivers who gasses up their car when they win the
Yeah.
race? Like,
Dude,
oh my God!
Honestly, it shows you how awesome the football players really are, because that is like a real glimpse of what it's like every day. But not only that, you could see that those guys are really close, because to bag on each other like that and to laugh it off and to really just be like whatever, it's like, dude, you guys played 10, 15 years together and you were a dynasty and now you're coming back, you're just fucking with each other, like saying what you've always wanted to say in front of everybody and no one gives a shit. Like, that'd be amazing. Could you imagine some roast that could go like, dude, the Jerry Jones roast?
Okay, that's the list we need to make.
Oh,
What's
you
the
have
list?
no idea. I've already been thinking about it, dude. Jerry Jones is number one. Jerry's number one for sure. I could not
Dude,
wait.
I think Harbaugh needs to be on that list.
I thought about Harbaugh for
dude,
sure.
But
here's the problem.
Did you get both Harbaugh?
Both Harbaugh brothers.
Both
up
of
there,
them?
dude.
Maybe
Both
both of them
Harbaugh
with the
brothers.
dad.
Yeah, Dad would come out.
Oh my God, you would be legendary, dude. It'd be, if it really keeps going like this, it's going to be so funny, dude. As long as everyone's got thick skin. You got to have
would
thick
be another
skin.
good one. Rex Ryan.
Oh,
Rex Ryan would be a
The
good one
feet
to have
jokes
up there.
would fly.
Oh yeah.
Eli Manning came in, by the way. He wasn't at the roast, but he tweeted the day after. He said, "I thought about showing up, but I didn't want to roast Tom for a third time."
I saw that.
good tweet.
Hey,
Pretty good
Eli's
tweet.
might be funny too. Eli's roast, that would be pretty funny because, dude, he does have some things over Tom. Dude, have they done a roast for Peyton yet?
I think they did.
I feel like
If
there
they
was a
did, they need to
Peyton roast.
redo it and they need
But
to
it
be more
was
serious.
not. But like it
Yeah,
was
no,
back in
it was
that,
crap.
It was that era of like, don't
Be
say
nice.
anything, be nice. Like you
Dude,
can't
Redo
At
it.
one
be
point,
mean.
Rob
Remix.
Gronkowski, who Kevin Hart kept clowning him for not just sound it out, Gronk. There's a teleprompter, sound it out. So at one point, he even says, "I'm off script now," and he starts describing like Tom Brady down in Tampa.
I heard him.
Lubing up all the way up
Julian
to
Edelman.
Massachusetts and sticking it in Bill Belichick's ass. Like, jeez, Gronk.
Dude. No, you're talking about Julian Edelman. Julian was riding him all
That's
the way
right,
up here. Dude, which makes me wonder, is Julian and Tom, are they a little, like, there was a lot of jokes back and forth about those
Well, and
two. It's
Alex
like,
Guerrero. It's possible the
dude,
three of them are just in
dude,
a
when
situation.
Belichick talked about butting heads with Tom Brady, he's like, but it was hard because Tom's head was so far up Guerrero's ass. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you gotta be kidding me.
The other thing, Tom Brady gets up there and he starts talking about the Deflategate thing, and Roger Goodell spends $20 million on a private investigation firm to try and figure out, Roger, you could have given me $20 million to tell you the truth, that I did it.
Dude,
Just admits to Deflategate.
he totally admitted to Deflategate, which was hilarious. And everyone just laughed it off like, oh my God. Hey, it's one of those things that we talk about with the young guys. I was like, literally, they spend millions, dude. They'll spend millions. And the fact that he just made a total joke about that, like, dude, you should have given it to me. I'd have told you I did it. Like,
Dude, the best.
there are no rules.
The best marriage joke. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Ross at the beginning, where he was like, "Man, just gave up that family for that 8 and 9 season, huh?
Yeah.
F them kids." Like, dude, that was. It's like Giselle said, like,
wild, dude.
me or football, and you just said, "I'll take an 8 and 9 season,
Yeah.
baby."
Dude.
F them kids. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Zero.
Oh, man.
I loved it. I thought it was hysterical.
I thought it was hilarious.
The only person that bombed was Ben Affleck. He
For
was
sure.
terrible.
He was like nervous, I feel
Yeah.
like.
I was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was
How could you
nervous
be
for Gronk.
nervous?
Well, I was just kind of nervous for the football players, right? Because it's like, hey, are they going to have their timing? Right? There's an art to stand up, and I thought everyone did really well. Like even Bledsoe, I was like, oh, this is going to be curious how this goes, and he was just one after the other after the other. And then Gronk gets up there, he's like, "Y'all think I'm a dipshit? I'm creative." It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're pretty. You're pretty.
I came
dumb,
up with
bud."
that joke.
Yeah, I wrote that joke. It's like everyone wrote their own jokes. Stupid.
At one point, Kevin Hart, he gets to the point where it's Gronk is going to set up the shots between him and Belichick and Brady.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hart's like, okay, it's time to get to the thing, and he starts looking behind the podium and pulls out the gift that Kevin Hart was going to take out later. He's like, no, Gronk, just put that back, you idiot. You oaf.
Dude,
He said, you look like the final boss in the George Floyd video game. Oh my God, dude.
Dude, how about, did you guys notice the microphone going up and down, and every time Kevin Hart came, it just like it just would lower every single time, and then someone else would come up there and they have to raise it like 4 feet. Oh, it was fantastic.
What a great night. I can't wait to watch
Comedy's
that.
back.
It's so
Comedy
funny.
is back.
Who are give me your guys' favorite comedians? Like one or two people that you'll pay whatever if they're in your town.
So-
Gotta go see this guy.
I've got to actually hang out with Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura.
I would pay to see
Love
them.
Wow.
No
both
question.
those dudes. Like,
Yes.
So I met Tom when he came to Lincoln in 2019, and we set up like a tour for the facility, and I toured him around, and like he kicked a field goal, and then I went to the show, and then I saw Tom when he came back again this past year, and then Burt came to Lincoln and did Fully Loaded, and I hit Bert up, and we did the same thing. Actually, there's a video of Bert lifting in the Nebraska weight room, and he hits 225, and he gets all juiced up, and he was making fun of The Rock. He's like, oh, remember this place? Like, just giving him hell because they beat the Miami team. But those two dudes are my top 2 favorite comedians right now. I love both those guys. I think they're hysterical. And then Bill Burr. I haven't seen Bill Burr live, but he is
only
way up there
Netflix specials, but he's up there.
Way
I've never
up
seen him.
Bill Burr's for sure up there.
I'll give you my 2 favorites I've seen in person. Anthony Jeselnik, who used to do a bunch of the Comedy Central roasts. It's funny. The first time I saw, I think it was the Charlie Sheen roast from like 2010 or 2011.
The Tiger Blood.
Yes. So he did. It was like it was when Comedy Central started doing the uncensored stuff after 9 o'clock, and I had some friends and I were just watching this roast. Like, who is this dude? This Anthony Jeselnik? He's just. So we looked him up online. The next night he was in Minneapolis at Acme Comedy Club. Just complete coincidence. And so we showed up, met him out. He was like smoking a cigarette outside. He basically tells dead baby jokes for like 20 minutes. Like he's wow. And Chris Rock, I've seen Chris Rock 2 or 3 times, and that dude's been hilarious for 30 years. No one's off limits with Chris Rock.
Dude,
give me those guys.
You know who I went to go see?
Big J. Okerson's another one. Like he's not a super mainstream comic, but he was in that comedy. Whatever Bert Kreischer does, the Fully Loaded thing. He was in that comedy, and he was. And the thing I love about him is he has his set, but he loves to pick on the audience.
Yeah,
like, that's his
which
shtick.
is always fun.
Like he finds someone in the audience that is like target number 1, and it just is berating.
There is I can't remember who it is, but my wife, there's a comedian. I can't remember her name, but she only does crowd work. She literally like will show up, and she's gonna be up there for 45 minutes or an hour, and it's crowd work. Period. She'll just look at. And I don't even know. I guess you just get up there and you just start looking at people, and she'll just go off on someone for 5 minutes, then pick somebody else up. Like, that is insane talent.
That's tough. You have to be able to like come up with stuff. Yeah. On the spot. That's a lot. Dude, I went to go see the Kings of Comedy, and it was fucking hilarious. Like, they're another one. They'll pick out of the crowd, and they'll DL Hughley. They'll all start fucking with you. But you know who I would have loved to have seen? Bernie Mac. Dude, if you ever watch Bernie Mac skit, dude, they are fucking hilarious. Like, he makes me laugh so much, but shame, R.I.P.
Yeah,
but dude,
Chappelle's another good one.
Dude, Chappelle would be a huge one.
He's great. Rogan actually does really well. Like, that's kind of like, I went and saw him in Lincoln a couple of years ago. He did great. I thought, it's kind of like, are you a comic still? It's like, oh, you definitely still are a comic.
Yeah,
could still sling
He
it.
roasted our mayor in Lincoln. It was phenomenal.
Send us recommendations in the comment section on
Chappelle's
YouTube
pretty
too.
up there too, dude. That was a great call, Chappelle. That was a good
Legendary, man.
Oh, for sure.
Are you guys ready for some mics here? I got the first mic for you guys, and it's going to lead us into an exercise. So I don't think, as we record this, we have an exact date and time, but the NFL has teased the schedule release is coming out very soon. Like, I think the buzz is Thursday night. I'm stealing your mic right now?
Yeah, because they're coming out and they're like, we don't know when it's coming out. God, why do they do this to everybody?
But it's going to be soon. And it's going to be prime time.
You know, they're like, nobody knows. But now everyone's like, oh my God.
You already know the teams you're playing. Now we reveal the order in which you play those teams. So here's my exercise for you guys.
Yes.
I think we should do an NFL calendar snake draft right now. We did this on Purple Daily. Everything on the NFL calendar, from Super Wildcard Weekend to Championship Sunday to the first week of free agency to the NFL Combine to the schedule release. The NFL has masterfully owned 10 and a half months out of the year, starting late July training camp all the way through the Super Bowl. And then Super Bowl ends right into Combine speculation season, right into free agency, the draft, and then the schedule release. Like, they just have a footprint every month except for June and part of July, basically, right? If we did a draft, starting with Jeremiah with the first pick, like, what is the number one thing for you on the entire NFL calendar?
Ooh.
Number one thing for me, personally, as weird as this is going to sound, like, the number one thing that gives me, like, the most anxiety and leading up to is cut day. Like, it's a weird thing on the NFL calendar, but it's cut day, right? Because there's always the surprise cuts. There's the vet cuts, right? Guys you don't anticipate getting cut, all of a sudden you're like, oh, where's he going to go? He's not going to be on the street long, right? And then you have like which free agents made it. Like I personally, I know it's probably a reach for the first overall pick, but
that's my
life. That's my
if
life.
I framed it this way, like your favorite days on the NFL calendar, or your favorite weeks on the NFL calendar. You're saying cut day is the most prominent because it's like
right to the
for
brain.
your livelihood.
For my livelihood, like can I feed my kids? Cut day is very important. Okay, so most favorite weeks, probably divisional round weekend.
Oh, let's go.
Divisional round weekend.
Strap in.
We've
cut those crappy wild card teams
the
out.
Wild cards are out. You've got divisional round weekend is my favorite because you've just got still great teams battling it out. They're usually great games. Like divisional round weekend for sure is up there.
So that's number one. Let's do a draft. That's the number one pick.
That's my number one pick.
Alex, what's the next? What's your pick?
Can I do week
You're on
one?
the clock.
Week 1 of the season. Game 1 of the season, that's easily my number one. I mean, I agree. Playoffs, I would count divisional round as playoffs. Like when we go into playoffs and everyone's for real, it's super fun. But for me, it was like, let's just get through fucking training camp and let's get to week 1. I just want week 1 to be here. I want that first Sunday. I want to smell the grass walking out there as I'm stretching. I want to see my fucking opponent out there like, yeah, I didn't even play last week, motherfucker. I'm going to be like, yeah, neither did I, bitch. I'm ready to fuck you up, too. Let's go, bro. I'm fucking ready.
Oh, my God.
All right, Mac.
Okay, give me so many great options here.
There is a lot right now.
Give me Championship Sunday. Who's going to play in the Super Bowl? It's a full afternoon. It's the final 4 teams in the NFL. It's usually the Chiefs and 3 other teams that are going to get beat by the Chiefs at some point. So give me Championship Sunday for.
Hey,
I get
Mackey.
I get 2 picks because it's a snake
draft.
draft.
And hey, real quick, it's been 50 years of shit and 5 years of greatness. So calm down, okay? Shake it off.
Exactly.
Tom said.
Shake it off. All right. Okay. Wow.
I can't believe you get to double dip on this. This is fucked up because I'm thinking you're gonna take mine right now.
I'm gonna take the first week of free agency. Free agency frenzy week.
I'm good.
Okay, we're back to Alex.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are we saying right now or when as I was a player?
I would say as a fan of football.
Yeah.
Oh,
right now.
As
right
a fan
now?
of football. Yeah.
Draft for me. Draft.
I feel like the draft fell a bit here. I think this is good value taking the draft at pick 5 in our draft.
Dude, it just, especially right now with what we do and the fun that we get to have and like how much insight we have into everything, the draft, in my opinion, has gone way up in my books. Like before as a player, Jay will tell you, we fucking hated the draft. We were like, just draft a DB, draft a receiver, just don't draft somebody in our room, right? And then you were kind of stressing, but now I'm like, draft an O-lineman, draft an O-lineman, draft an O-lineman. I just want everybody to draft an O-lineman in the first because I'm like, I want every O-lineman to have success. But the draft has become super awesome for us, and just the fun that we get to have around it is super chill. Go ahead, Jay.
Draft is, and the fact that they move it around now, it's like it's
I
becoming
think that's
this
awesome
huge
too,
event.
dude. I think it's great. They should be doing that. It gives every city a chance to. Did you see what 300,000 people came out? Which I think is awesome, dude. Because anytime you can get people together to have a lot of fun, I think it's a great time, especially around football.
My wife is joking. She's like, people just need an excuse to drink beer. She's like, why would you go to the draft? Like, why would you go? Just a reason
you
to
could
stand
have
around
just
and
mowed
drink
your
beer.
lawn and cracked a Modelo.
Yeah, right?
100%.
Babe, I mowed the lawn. Jay said I get a free beer.
Yeah, 100%.
You get back-to-back picks here, by the way.
So as a fan, because of the speculation that leads up to it, I'm gonna say the trade deadline. The trade deadline, right? Because every single team is like, hey, should we trade him because our team sucks? Or, hey, should we go try and get this one more piece to make the Super Bowl run? And everything, like the speculation during the trade deadline, like the 2 weeks leading up to the trade deadline is phenomenal. Right? Because everyone's like, what should we do? Who's going to do it? Like, just even think about the Vikings last year. It was like, we should trade Danielle Hunter. No, we shouldn't. Like, what are we going to do? We blow up the team, trade everyone. It's like, oh, we didn't trade anyone. Shit. Yeah. Right? Like, you're just kind of getting this whole, like, realm. And every team, every, like, fan does it. So, yeah, I love the lead up to the trade deadline.
I'm going to give you real quick. Best players available.
Speaking of that, real quick, Mackey, I remember being on Purple Daily when that happened at the trade deadline, and we were like, remember you were asking me, do we trade Danielle Hunter or do we not? Do we trade Harry? Do we continue pushing this down the road? And it was like, dude, looking back, we said this. Looking back, we're all going to be like, we're probably going to regret this. But we were like, you got to keep pressing on, right? Like as a player, you have to keep pressing on. Management though was probably like, we should have gotten something for that.
Should have had a second round pick for Daniil, who walked, by the way.
Dude.
So on Collier's podcast, Purple
Insider.
We were talking about this, and I called it. I go, here's what's going to happen. We're going to beat the Niners on Thursday Night Football as the Vikings and go, we can still do it and not trade anyone. And then sure enough, like we talked ourselves into it, and then we were like, oh.
They were rowing the boat, Brody.
Should have done
all
it.
in.
Should have done it.
Didn't need that second round pick. So, okay, this is the final round here. Jeremiah, Alex, and then I'll make the last pick. Best players available on the NFL calendar board. Super Bowl is still available.
I know. That's got to go.
Super Wild Card Weekend also still available, and some other, like the schedule release day still available.
That's going to be last.
Yeah, that's down for me.
I don't think any of us
I'll take the Super Bowl. In this
You have
Combine?
to now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take the Combine is dead last for me. I think the Combine's the most overrated thing of all time. Dead last. That's Mr. Irrelevant if I get
Zero.
last pick. Yeah, I'll take Super Bowl here. Super Bowl's always a good time. It's never as good as it builds up to be, and I think that's because there's the 2-week build-up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I wish they do the Super Bowl right after it. Like, just roll
On
it.
Thursday night. Just do a Thursday night Super Bowl.
Just roll it right into it.
A
dude.
Thursday night Super Bowl? I never thought about that.
Could you imagine?
That
Coming
Mackey.
up next. No one can feel their limbs.
Just
Watch Patrick Mahomes crawl around on one leg.
Be amazing.
They're all hopped up on painkillers
Toradol.
tonight on NBC.
Toradol. And I want to welcome you back to the Super Bowl sponsored by Toradol and Pfizer. I'm joined here by Tom Brady. Tom, going back to your roast. Kidding.
All right, Booney, who's your final pick here?
Wild card. It's got to be the wild card.
Super Wild Card Weekend?
Yeah, because after that, Jay's right. I hate the fucking combine. The guys in my gym know how much I hate it. And the schedule release, nobody ever really gave a shit. I think the only thing that really is important on schedule release is to see when is your bye week and when is your Thursday night game. So you're looking as fast as you can to find your bye week, and you're like, okay, it's between weeks 7 and 12. All right, we're perfect. It's right in the middle of the schedule. And our Thursday night game is weeks 0 to 5. Perfect. We're good. We get it in the first couple of weeks. We get it out of the way. We're good. The problem is the guys that get the bye week late, really, really late, and then have to play that Thursday night game late. And you're like, oh,
no.
that's
I think the worst bye week's the early bye week, week 5. The week 5.
Oh yeah,
I mean bye week. If
you want
get
it in
that
the
bye
middle of
week,
the season.
you hate that because you're like, dude, week 6 is my bye week. Like I'm gonna get 5 games in and then just have a absolute 13 game death march to the end of the year. Like,
what's the perfect bye week? Perfect bye
literally
week.
right in the
10?
middle.
Week 10.
Yeah,
Week 10.
Right in the
So
middle.
a little past the middle, like
little
10?
past the middle. Like get there. Like get week 10.
We're 17 now, right? So what would the middle be now?
18.
18
Well,
weeks.
18 a week, 17
18
games.
weeks. So it's an 18-week season. So I'm saying week 10 is perfect. Perfect bye week. Best Thursday night game, week 1.
You know, in week 1.
Oh yeah, when you get to start the season on Thursday night,
season on
'cause
Thursday night,
nothing's different. You just go right from training camp right into that Thursday, and then you get a
That's
little mini bye right after that.
best.
You watch everybody fuck up on Sunday, dude.
Worst
that's the
Thursday
best.
night anytime in December.
Oh.
Any date in December that's Thursday, just buckle in, boys.
No, how about if you have to play 2 of them in a row? Yeah,
Dude,
like
you want to talk?
Thanksgiving.
Dude, don't.
2016.
Don't
2016.
Don't
Vikings.
you fucking dare.
We played
3 games.
3 games in 11 days. It
was
the worst my body
worst.
ever felt ever. Like
I remember
what was
leaving.
it? A Sunday, Thursday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was Sunday, Thursday, and I remember leaving the Sunday game in sweats. Like I am so broken. We lost to the Cardinals, I believe.
we beat the
Or no, we
Cardinals.
beat the Cardinals, and then we came back on Thursday and we lost to Dallas, and that's when we had those problems. And then the following Thursday was Thanksgiving, and
lost.
that's when we crumbled.
That was the Aretha Franklin 15
minutes.
minute 15
Dude.
minute national anthem.
Yeah.
I remember Tony was like, "I'm going to sit down."
Yeah, dude,
Every now and then this is over.
dude, I just remember like I went from like double hands here, like that's where you start, right, hanging in there, and then you like drop the hands and you kind of look around. You're like, what is happening?
Is this a concert? What's going on right now? Oh man.
Third play
Okay,
of the
with
game,
the
we lost our
with the
center.
final pick in the 2024 NFL calendar draft here on the O-line committee, I will select Thanksgiving football. 3 games on Thanksgiving. go to Vegas,
Whoa.
watch at the Circus Sportsbook, which is what my life.
Is
and I
that the
did
last
year.
pick? Because that could have been one of the first picks. I didn't
Yeah, that's-
realize.
Well,
no,
that
it's
was,
like
that
it's
was,
the
that's
last
one of
pick
my day.
in our
Dude, that's
draft.
a day
It's
for
the last
me.
pick.
Are you kidding me? Build the roast and sit down,
Yeah.
and it's football all day. We do the Rhino Bowl in the morning. Last year, shout out Trevor Laws, tore his Achilles. Not even kidding you. He shows up and he's like, you guys know Trevor, right? Trevor played.
I've never
obviously,
met
for
him,
Philly.
but Notre Dame. Let's go.
Notre Dame defensive tackle, and we coached the softball team together. We're co-coaches. His daughter's Luann. She's great girl. And last year he played, and he's covering me on an out route, and all of a sudden I hear him fall down, and he gives me the look.
Yeah,
Goes, I got kicked in the back of the foot, and I go, dude, your wife's gonna kill me. Dude, I'm so sorry. Yep, he's recovered now. He's back, but
Is he
dude.
playing? Is he playing this year? Comeback season?
Oh, absolutely, he's coming back. He's coming
His team-
back. By the way,
his team drafted a quarterback, 8th overall, though,
Yeah.
just to make sure that they've got him the future covered.
no, absolutely, but yeah, no, the Rhino Bowl, Mackey, you're playing in it this year. You're coming this year. I think I invited
go.
you last year.
You don't
didn't
want-
come.
you don't
no,
want
you're
the smoke.
coming this year. You have to play in it. I got jerseys. It's insane. I bring crookeds. It's super fun, dude.
You're looking at a flag football champion at the University of Minnesota. Intramural freshman
Here's
year.
the problem.
Self-suck.
That's a
Who's
self
got
suck.
2 thumbs
That's
and
a
2
self-suck.
interceptions in the championship
a
My
game.
neighbor,
double
my
self.
neighbor has 2 defensive D1 lacrosse players. One went to Ohio State and one went to Hofstra. And when I tell you that they are peak physical specimens, the entire game is trying not to let them win. And so we just all like chase them down, and like it ends up getting sometimes aggressive.
Right.
Too aggressive
but
at
what's
times?
what's their
Never.
best output on a 20-minute cycling ride with Dennis Morton on the Peloton? That's what I want to know. Okay.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to change your life when you show up and you see how diverse of age and how everybody is in their life and how competitive it becomes in like 5 minutes when someone's like, you're a pussy. And you're like, oh, now it's out. Dude, it's so fun. It's so fun. Jay, you're
Okay.
playing in it too.
We'll
You're coming
see.
up for Thanksgiving.
We're going to make that happen. We'll tape up our ankles and
we're-
Achilles
yeah,
to make sure.
It's go time. We go
So
crazy.
here are the teams, by the way. Jay winds up with divisional weekend, the trade deadline, and the Super Bowl.
that's
So
a
good
solid.
mix of games and some speculation in there.
Good boy.
Boone, you wind up with week 1, the draft, and Super Wild Card weekend.
I'm in for that.
Pretty good slate right there.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I wind up with Championship Sunday, free agency week, and Thanksgiving football.
Those are all
I'm
solid.
not going to lie. Those are all solid. Those are solid draft picks.
It's pretty good.
I'll take it. I'll take
All right.
it.
Who's the next Mike?
Go for it, Booney.
Oh, you already hit my mic, dude. We were gonna laugh about the whole NFL teasing everything, and then all of a sudden now we're not gonna tease it, and we don't know when it's gonna come out. When they know deep down it's coming out, but
Tonight on NFL Now.
I mean, they're obviously gonna come out like tomorrow and be like, next week it's coming out. Like it's every day there's something new. What's your mic, Jay?
Oh man, I've been going back and forth on this because I hate belaboring on the Kirk Cousins thing, but it just seems that every week there's something new, and it just seems like every week there's another thing to pop up. And so I'm gonna go with the fact that Kirk is stinging, I believe was the article that was wrote, because one of the main reasons he didn't want to stay in Minnesota was because Minnesota was very open to the fact that we're drafting a young QB early, and that was our plan. And that was one of the reasons he was like, you know what? I'm not down with that. I'm going to go ahead and go, and I'm going to bounce. And then Atlanta just full back door, pants down around the ankles, and it is whap! Yeah, we're going to do it anyways, even though you left the place you were at because of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the saga that never ends. And I don't know if it's just like, I can't get out of it. It's just in my algorithm forever and always. But I just think it's kind of hysterical. But it also just goes to show you that this league cares not about you, whether you are a 180 million guy or whether you're not. Like, you are not above the league. You are not above the team. You're not above anything. You are a pawn in a much larger game. Maybe you're a rook or a knight or a king or a queen. But at the end of the day, all the pieces go back in the same box, and the owner owns that box and decides what pieces go in.
Is he good?
To be
he's
fair, that owner was pissed. To be very fair,
know.
Dude, you saw her the way he walked up, like, what are we doing? And can I just say this? And I thought Mackey would bring this up for sure. So kudos.
What,
to Jay.
the Kirk Cousins thing?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not the one still obsessing over it
I
like
know.
Jeremiah.
Clearly, we
Okay.
know who it is
I've-
now. But hey,
I've moved on with my life.
since
can't
you
help
brought
myself.
it up, I just want to say shout out to KOC though and the Vikings for being straight up with them. Like in all of this, I will say this: like sometimes when you're a free agent, and you're looking around. This is one of those things where you're like, Kirk's pissed because the Vikings told him the truth, and so he left, and the Falcons lied to him and then fucked him in the end. So you're like, okay, Do I want to go play for the Falcons? Are they going to do the same thing to me going forward? And then you kind of feel like, hey, the Vikings will always be honest with it. Like, you just know that going in right now because they did it to Kirk. Hey, we're going to draft a dude high. We're just letting you know. And he was like, I'm out of here. It is a little hysterical that this whole situation is happening. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We warned you it wouldn't be fucking fine. We told you several times this is not how it works and this is not how he wants it to work. And he's the guy making $200 million. What do you think is going to happen? He is very sensitive. We should ding him for sensitivity too.
It is. That was my question to you guys. So on one hand, he is one of the top before the Achilles injury, 12. Sometimes like he was the 9th best quarterback. Other times he was like 12. But he's one of the top 10 to 15 guys in the world.
There. Yeah.
But I don't think he was good enough. I don't know if anyone is, from what you guys are saying, to try and dictate that you never have a backup that might take your job. And it kind of felt like, even in Minnesota, he really preferred Sean Mannion was his backup because he was kind of an assistant coach in the room. He wasn't a real threat to his job. This idea that a team can't, once you're 34, 35 years old, look for a replacement for you. And again, I don't think the Falcons should have done it because they committed to Kirk. They should have drafted somebody else to further building their roster. But like, is he in a position, one playoff win in 10 years as a starting quarterback to really be go beat him out, dude? Like, the Patriots drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round 8 years ago because they thought Tom Brady was, and Tom was like, screw this, I ain't giving up my job.
Jordan Love.
Sorry,
Aaron
guy.
Rodgers.
Yeah,
Love,
like
same thing.
Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's okay, cool. Like, it sucks for you kind of, but go play.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I think there's a way better way of handling this. I think if Kirk were to just came out and been like, great competition, let's do it. Keep me young, keep me strong.
The agent putting a statement out is so sensitive.
God, anytime agents do anything.
My client's not very happy. It's like, dude, your client's made $250 million.
What did he say? What was his exact word? Didn't he say something like, we were taken...
Shocked. We were
shocked. Shocked. You should never be fucking shocked as an agent. That right there tells me you are not a good agent. You are shocked, dude. I've been here in 30 years.
Ding for being shocked when you shouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. Ding. I'm telling you right now, 10 years in that league, I'm not shocked for shit. I've seen everything in this life. Like, you can't be like, I came out of nowhere. Okay. Which is, it's kind of funny because the team before you said the same exact thing. And now this team just went and did it. It just, it's funny as shit. It is. I know. And I'm telling you, I really appreciate the Vikings and KOC and Kwesi. Like, all those dudes went up in my book because it's like, it seems like they're really honest over there and they don't give a shit.
Sidebar. How do you think a roast of Kirk Cousins would go?
There we go. There's our number one.
Dude.
There.
Could you imagine?
The number one.
It would be the material would be endless. Do you think he'd be able to sit up there for 3 hours?
No,
absolutely
zero
not.
chance. He would walk off stage.
He wouldn't show up. He wouldn't show up.
Would Mike Zimmer show up?
Yeah, Zim would show up. Now, he'd get pissed in the middle of it and end it, but he'd at least show up.
Because Belichick showed up, took all the bullets, sat there with a goofy smile, got his buzz on, drinking bourbon or whatever he was drinking.
I don't think Zimmer would be able to sit there for 3 hours and take it from every single person.
I think Zimmer would be like, I'll go first.
Could we
Filippo would be in line.
Oh, my God.
Dude, imagine the people that would be in line for that.
Okay, my favorite is, I don't know if you guys caught this a few years ago. So when Kyle Rudolph left the Vikings, longtime, really good tight end, right, for the non-Minnesota Vikings fans here. And he wrote in the Players Tribune, it had to have been like a 2,000-word ode to the Vikings, the fans, just like, thank you so much for taking a chance on me. And he probably listed 50 people by name, including like the equipment intern from, 2012. He listed Matt Castle, Teddy Bridgewater, I believe Case Keenum he listed multiple quarterbacks by name. Did not list Kirk Cousins in the thank you from the Players Tribune. And then a bunch of people, we brought it up on our show, obviously, like, that's interesting. Maybe it was an omission. You got rolling and listing names, and Kyle came out with a couple other tweets, like retweeting the article, but he never corrected it. I just wonder, like, it'd be so much fun. This is where you find out what people really think of each other.
Yeah.
These roast settings,
Let it out, dude. Let it out. God, it's the locker room. I'm all about it.
No. I got some dumb football questions for you guys.
I like dumb
if you're
football
interested.
questions.
Fucking ready? Let's go.
All right, here we go. Dumb football questions on the O-Line committee. You can always hit us up by dropping your dumb football questions in the YouTube comment section. And again, if you haven't already clicked the like and subscribe buttons, below on this video if that's where you're consuming. You can help us get to 20,000 subscribers. On the audio side, as we look to grow on Apple and Spotify, it goes a long way when you give us a 5-star rating and a positive review. So please do that if you could be so kind. Let's start with John Benson here, who has a dumb football question. He says, how do you adjust or react to a position or strength coach who has a poor reputation or who gives you bad advice that might hurt your career? You guys don't have to get specific Alex. If you don't want to, but like, there's got to be coaches. There's so many coaches in the NFL.
Okay.
That are just
I'll tell you.
That just ain't it.
Yeah, no, when we were here, actually, surprisingly, and I should say this, I didn't really go to OTAs ever. I trained with my trainer, and he was like, we're going to train 10 times harder than anybody's ever going to train. And we did. Like, there was no doubting it. So everybody was always like, oh, this is okay. When I came here, I remember one of the first text messages to my trainer. I was like, hey, listen, man, I know you're new, and I heard that you're big into running. I was like, I'm not a big runner. Like, I just don't want to do it. I obviously have fucking terrible knees. I was like, I'll lift anything and fucking sit in a weight room all day, but I am not going to get on the field. And he was like, yeah, no problem. First day we get there, he's like, all right, we're going to do 10 gassers. And I'm like, hey, you got me, right? And he's like, no, get in here and do this. He's like, you're a leader, and Zimmer expects you to be a leader. I was like, dude, we had this conversation. And I obviously had to be there, right? It was in my contract. And I was like, I remember I called my man. I called Charles right away. I like walked out of the workout and called Charles. Like, he wants me to run 10 gassers. And he was like, the fuck you're going to run that shit? And I was like, I don't know, man. Zimmer's standing over here looking at me like, you better be running these gassers. And I remember calling my agent. He was like, just run them and shut up. Dude, I ended up blowing my back.
So you were
out.
worried about your knee, like your knees were kind of rickety. You were worried about
Yeah, well, he wanted to run up hills and shit. Like, listen, I'm all for doing some cardio stuff.
That 16 off season was tough.
Stupid. It was fucking tough. Stupid is what it was. And I ended up blowing my back out the last lift because we used to do this thing on Fridays where you would come in and you would do 100 sets and then you would do like 10 gassers. So it'd be like squats, lunges, deadlifts, hand cleans, power cleans, everything with the leg movement, right? And eventually I was talking to him one day and I was like, dude, someone's going to get really hurt. Like, we're broken, dude. A lot of us are really broken, and you have to be smart about how you train. Oh, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I had blown up my back, and I threw a desk through a window at that day. I was really pissed. And then at the end of it, he just ended up hurting everybody. And, dude, we didn't get stronger. We didn't get better. We did a ton of running that had nothing to do with football. Like, we're offensive linemen. I'm not asked to run a lot. I'm asked to be, quick lateral movements. I'm asked to be fast out of my stance. I have to have good cardio for a long time, but I don't have to fucking run. I really hated that year. It really pissed me off a lot. And then I ended up getting lucky because then I went to the Cardinals after Carson called me, and out there we had Buddy Morris. And Buddy Morris, I don't know if anyone knows Buddy Morris, but Buddy Morris is like one of the best strength coaches in the NFL, and he's one of the original OGs, Westside Barbell. Like, he is a fucking badass. And I got out there, and he was like, what kind of stuff you guys doing out there? I was like, dude, they had us fucking running like 30 gassers a day. He's like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? And I was like, I'm so happy to be here, buddy. Can we just go squat now? And he was like, we're not going to fucking run anything. That's so stupid. Like, he was big into like hypertrophy. He was fucking awesome, dude. He was
what is the point of offensive linemen doing like sprinting and
you asked me, I don't know.
Because all of your work is done in a small controlled area, right?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of like acceleration and cutting that I think is good just for any athlete, right? Just any athlete, like a box drill. Right, we used to do a bunch of box drills in college, and I thought like where it's like, hey, sprint 5, cut, shuffle 5, cut, backpedal, like just change a direction just for overall like athletic movement. But when it comes to the conditioning side for an offensive lineman, it's so different than a receiver, like, or a tight end, right? And when you try and say, okay, everyone's going to run gassers, and the only difference is the receivers are going to run 14, the big skills are going to run 12, and then the O-linemen are going to run 10. You're kind of just saying like, well, everyone has to do the same thing conditioning wise. Well, the receiver isn't asked to push another 330-pound man 3 yards, right? And so that's where I had struggled with some of the NFL things, is it just felt like it was so cookie cutter approach, whereas like everyone has to do this. Versus there was teams like in Buffalo where it's like, hey, O-linemen, today the receivers are running gassers, you guys are doing sled pushes. right? And it's like, I
Which
can
is
get on
huge.
board with that,
Yes.
right? Or, hey, you guys, instead of running today, you're going to do reverse sled drags for 200 yards, right?
Yep.
Build your lower half, your core, like, and it's
While
slow,
you're
right? It's
draining
slow,
your
right?
oxygen.
And
Absolutely.
and so, like, there's definitely right and wrong ways to do it. And, you know, in college, I had a great strength coach in college, James Dobson. He's the assistant in Oklahoma right now. He was the man. And, like, he had us do, like, resistive conditioning, which was like, hey, sled pushes, sled drags, get-ups. You had to do, like, barbell lunges across, and then you'd run 155-yard to end the circuit, right? And so you were just kind of still getting that movement. But when you're in the NFL, and even Alex, right? Alex was a high-paid guy. You can't really say no. Right?
No.
Because then you're going to get looked at by your teammates, and you're going to feel like shit too when you're like, I'm not doing this. It's like, well, everyone else is.
Yeah,
Right?
the coach would have to explain why you're not doing it, so it doesn't
Alex
look like
told
you're.
me, right? Alex told me he doesn't run, but all you guys are going to run, and Alex is going to stand here and watch
Exactly.
you run. Like,
So I didn't do it.
it doesn't work like that. Right?
But
'Cause
if it's like, hey, Alex has got some knee stuff he's working through,
Right.
so
it'd have
like,
been way
he's-
different. But at the time, like, I couldn't. Obviously, nobody wanted me to come in and be like, he's got bad knees. Like, I think they were
After
just
they
like, shut the
paid him.
fuck
They're like,
up.
what
right?
do you mean what do you mean he's got bad knees? Like, you don't tell people. You just say like,
No.
hey,
And
I don't do this.
right. And to be fair, like when I was with the Charles and we were in Arizona, so it would be like 120 degrees. We would pull and push trucks all day or semis, or he'd be like, all right, we're going to take it 400 yards today until the first person to throw up. And you'd be like, I'm not throwing up. I'm not going to be a bitch, because you knew if you lost, you had to buy breakfast for the whole gym. So you were like, I am not throwing up today. So workouts were really tough. And then I got up here and I was like, what do you mean run up a side of a fucking hill? Have you seen my knock knees? Are you I was like, dude, can we just... Dude, the best was after that we hired Uwe, and Uwe was with me in Frisco, and Uwe and myself were on a different level of strength and conditioning. Like Uwe and I every day would come in and do boxing together to work the hands. We had our own lifts together. Like he was all on board with me and Chuck and what we were doing, and he was very intrigued on how to make offensive linemen better. So he'd come down and hang out with us and be like, teach me more. So remember the second year he was here, our conditioning test?
Yeah.
That was all because that's how LaCharles was like, the fuck you mean these big boys are running? Don't you see their knees? Don't you want them week 16, 17, 18? You're not going to have them if you wear them out for 4 weeks of camp of straight running. So Uwe came in and was like, we're going to do sled pushes, and you have to make it in a certain time. And I was like, have you talked to LaCharles? And he was like, got the whole workout from him. I was like, all right, we're good. We're good, bud. No fucking running. Everyone looked at me. I'm like, well, we're not running today. Zero chance of running. You don't even need cleats.
But is the condition, when I first started covering like football as a beat writer, I think Brad Childress was the Vikings coach and whoever else in the NFL, and he would do like a conditioning test. You'd have to like pass a conditioning test. What is the conditioning test for offensive linemen generally in the NFL?
Well,
Because there's like a gateway
gassers.
to participate. You got to
Gassers. At Ohio State, you had to do 20 gassers. Every gasser was 20 seconds. In the first 10, you had 15 seconds rest. In the second 10, you had 30 seconds rest. And then
So it's a 20-second sprint, or
Yeah, across
is it?
the field and back.
So a gasser is across the field and back. It's technically a half
gasser. 'Cause
A
a full gasser is
is
back and
down,
back.
down, back. And so, God, it's
Yeah.
going to be PTSD
But
just thinking about.
That was nothing compared to my rookie year when we had to do the 300 drill. Did you ever do that one?
We had
That's
300
around the
we
two
had
fields, right?
No, we had
No.
300. We had 300s in college. So there's two
How did
ways
you cut
can
it?
do 300s. You can go 50 yards, but we did 25s.
So did
and
we.
So you had to go 25 and back. How many times is that? 8 times, I think it is.
No,
6
six.
times. 6
Six
times.
times.
Right, so you're 25
But
back,
the
25
cutting
back. And the
gets your
cutting's the slow
legs.
part, right? That's where you
Oh
got
my
to start
God.
and stop. Right, the 300-yard shuttles is by far the worst conditioning drill I've ever done.
By far. And the problem was when you had to do it, you had an average 64 seconds. So you could score one of them at like 80 seconds, but then the next one had to be at like fucking 50, and the next one had to be at 50 again. And it was hard because they would line up the entire like staff along the field.
Coaches,
so like the owners were out there,
scouts,
the
front
GMs,
office.
the scouts. And
Jay
I'm going to tell you
Glazer's over
right
there.
now, my rookie year, I remember going in this and they were like, rookie, did you really work? I was like, oh man, I fucking worked. And they were like, this test is a bitch. It's out on the hot field. It's in the middle of the day. And it's in front of everybody. And as much as you think you're going to be fine, they're like, you're going to freak out when you see the owner watching you because he's going to point out every single person not running. Like, so you fucking run. I ran my ass. I almost passed out. I remember the kid that finished last didn't even get to break it down with us. We all finished. There was one kid finishing last, and they didn't even let him finish. They grabbed him like, you, come here. Pulled him in, never saw him again. Like, they were like, dude, we're not playing. And I remember that shit was no joke.
Yeah, if you didn't pass it, guess what? You got to wake up the next morning and do it again.
Unless
And
you were a rookie, then they cut
did
you.
it. Yeah, if you showed up as a vet and didn't pass it, you just had to keep running it until you passed.
Until you did.
They'll like put
And it
you on
doesn't get easier because guess what? You go out to practice soon, and
Yeah.
now you're beat up, and now you're tired. There was guys that take 10 days to do it.
Put them
It
in
would
fat
take
camp.
That's right. You go on like the side field.
Yup.
You get put like on
The
a
assault
list.
bike. Yeah,
Bro.
you get put into fat camp.
Never in my life was I ever put into fat camp.
Never.
I was
No.
close my sophomore year or my freshman year of college. I was close. I was like 355. I was pushing some heavy weight, drinking a lot of beers, a lot of Modelo's. Okay.
Are you done with that Modelo yet?
Are you done with that?
Absolutely.
Have you cracked another one?
Did you crush it on your
just
forehead?
One. Just one.
Oh.
Just one.
Sorry. Responsible
one.
dad.
I think you should at least crunch it on the microphone so we know that it's officially done. There we go.
There you go.
There it is. Right
done.
there. Okay, next dumb football question comes from Mega Riser in the YouTube comment section. Who's the smartest center you guys ever played with?
Do I have to say this?
Yeah.
No, I'm not,
Say
because
it.
I may have played with someone smarter. AQ Shipley.
Oh,
I don't have to give. So AQ was by far the smartest guy I ever played with. Like, just he knew everything, and he obviously everybody sees him on McAfee now, and he talks about offenses, and he's super into it. He was the guy that when I went to Arizona, AQ and I played in the Big Ten together, so we knew each other. Obviously, he went to Penn State, I went to Ohio State, and we had known each other our entire league. So when I got there, he was like, "Hey," my head was spinning, right? He's like, "Let's go to dinner tonight, you and me, and I'll teach you the whole offense in 20 minutes." And I was like, there is zero chance I'm going to learn this whole offense in 20 minutes. This is on like a Thursday night before the Lions game. So we go to dinner in fucking 10 minutes. I was like, it can't be this easy. He goes, that easy, bud. That easy. Don't think, just do. I'll take the tomahawk he's paying. I was like, oh my God, this is it? He was like, dude, it's the whole offense. I was like, holy shit, it is. Like, he just understood everything on different dimensions. But at the same time, in my opinion, one of the things that makes you a really smart center is you have the confidence to make calls when shit goes wrong. Like, he was not afraid to be like, everybody shut the fuck up. Here it is. Here's our new mic. I want you guys to do this. And you'd be like, dude, it's a run. What the fuck are you talking about? He'd be like, just think about what I'm telling you to do. Do this, and I want you to do that. And you'd be like, oh, okay, I got what you're doing. Got it. Totally get it now. Like, he was just him and Jay Good. Jay Goody, who's now the assistant quarterbacks coach in the Chargers, which, hilarious. A center as quarterbacks coach.
I mean,
Dude, they don't have sizes that big for you in that room, man. What the fuck? But there's a reason they're bringing him in with the quarterbacks. He was one of the guys that when Cap first started, they were like, listen, Cap's got a lot on his plate, so Goody, we're going to put all this on your plate. And so that's when the offensive line was like, we're going to all learn this together. And so that's how we all became so
it
smart.
could you like learning protections and where things are coming from is the most important thing.
And you have to be ready to be reactionary. Like, you have to know the down and distance and like, hey, this guy's creeping. I know this is what he's going to get ourselves into. I'm going to forecall this before anything happens. Like, those are the guys that you're like, man, this motherfucker knows what he's doing. Now, there were rules with these guys. They would always be like, listen, I'll get everybody in the right spot. If anybody gets me fucked up, you're dead. So you kind of had to go out and protect these guys. Like, if anybody gave him a late shot, I remember one time BJ Raji hit Goody late as fuck over the pile, and we almost lost him for the game. And I remember he was public enemy number one for the next 3 years. Like, we tried to maim him, hurt him, destroy him. Like, we were like, how dare you fucking touch this old man over here? Like, Goody was old. He took naps at lunchtime in his Panamera. I'm not even kidding you. And people be like,
hey, don't knock naps at lunchtime.
Dude,
okay?
we had the O-line corner in the locker room, right? It was like this little nook that was pushed way outside the locker room, and everyone would be like, come and be like, hey, where's Goody? I'd be like, he's taking a nap. Leave him alone. They'd be like, where's he taking a nap? I'd be like, in his car. Leave him the fuck alone. He'd come in with his like hood up. He'd be like, anybody ask for me? I'd be like, yeah, the OC's looking for you, bud. I think he's got something for you. Big task he wants to know from you. He'd be like, oh, fuck. All right, I'll be right back. I'd be like, dude, this guy's such a baller. Like, wore Jordans every game. Just swag the fuck. I love him to death. Love both those guys.
Yeah, I've got a toss up. It's either Nick Hardwick in San Diego or it's Ryan Khalil in Carolina. Like, both those dudes were extremely smart and had everything on their plate. And you know, I'm gonna give it to Ryan strictly because Phil obviously would overrule Nick quite often, but like in Carolina, Cam did nothing with the protections. Like, nothing. It was all on Ryan. Like, everything. It was his job to see safety rotation, flip the protection. Like, and Cam just trusted Ryan fully to do everything, right? And so he had the whole bit on his plate there, and it was impressive to see. Even when I was only there for camp, just the way that he commanded the offense and the way that he had the O-line all together and the whole bit was super impressive because like it was, and he kind of said the same thing, but like, hey, if I'm wrong, we're all wrong, but don't anyone throw me under the bus
ever.
Right? Like, and that was always
no-no.
a cardinal rule. Like if the rule of the play was we went right and he took us left, like you weren't and it ends up being wrong, and the coach is like, well, what the hell? Why'd we go here? And someone's not like, well, Ryan took us left, right? Like that's a no. Like that's a bust.
We all made a willing decision to go this way, coach.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They know
we all
the
said
center
in
made the
unison
call.
we must
Dude,
go the other way.
We had that happen in our room, and it happens a lot because people don't know what to say, and you're like, just shut up, don't say anything. One of the vets will handle it, right?
Yeah.
That's when one of the vets is supposed to stand up and go, hey, we fucked this up. Let's just move on. All right, move on. Go on. Like, nobody wants to get anybody thrown under the bus, but certainly not the center. And I'm going to say this, and you might have the same memories. But there'll be times I'm sitting at a light, and it's like a red light, and I'll just start laughing because I'll think about all the one-on-ones. Remember when we used to do pass rush versus defense? And they always needed to do like a silent count, so like you'd always have to practice it. Every time we were in the pass rush one-on-ones, I'd smack the living shit out of Goody's ass. And I mean to the point that the coaches were like, dude, you got to stop. He gets so mad. I'd be like, no, dude. Because, you got to tap him. And there was a couple times in games, I'm not kidding you, like I needed to cut the ice, right? Like guys were tense. I'd come up there and smack the shit out of him and be like, here we go, buddy. He'd be like, He gets so mad. And then everybody'd start laughing and shit. I'd be like, finally, everyone's calm. Like it's just so funny to think about these silly things that like very serious moments playing like Seattle when you could have been like heard a pin drop. And here we are out there just fucking around, smacking each other on the ass, saying inappropriate things. Like, it was just so funny all the time. And those are the funniest stories that you have with these centers, is the guys that could keep it light out there, but still be advanced in directing traffic and still be like, don't ever override me. Now, and I will say this, when the quarterback and the center are going at it, that's a weird thing.
Oh,
sure.
dude.
I got a great story. You're fighting.
I got a great story. So we're playing the Broncos in 2014. And it was Nick and Phillip, right? I think it was the Broncos. Like I don't remember who it was. And they're up there, and the protection calls for us to go right. And so we get up there, and Nick is like, "Hey, we're going to load it. We're going to go load it here, load it." And Phil comes up there, he's like, "No, Nick, rock it." And like
this
literally
is
Nick,
at the line of scrimmage.
At the line of scrimmage. And Nick turns around, he's like, "No, we're going left. Load it." And he's like, "No, Nick, no, we're going right. Rocky." He goes, "Phil, I'm telling you, we're going left." And then all of a sudden Phil goes, "Hey, rocket Delta," like the hurry up and snap
Last
it. And
thing
Nick
you
goes,
hear.
"Damn it," and snaps it. And like we come off on the sideline and they're just yelling at each other, dude, like screaming.
Did the play work or no?
No, it did work, but then we we're like, "What happened?" And our O-line was like, saw blitz that came off both sides. And so I was like, "You both were right. Like, everyone relax." Like, but yeah, Phil and Nick used to just scream at each other about like who was right, who was wrong. Like, it was so funny. Dude.
So this is maybe more of a Jeremiah question. Centers are so important for all the reasons that you guys have laid out for a year on the show. Why are they not more highly sought after in the draft? Like, it's very rare that you see a first round center, even though they're literally like the centerpiece of the communication system. They're an extension of the quarterback. I know that you got to find a freak 6'8", 340-pounder to play left tackle. So physically, it's harder to find the left tackles. But like, for how important center is, why do we just take flyers in the 5th round on centers all the time?
Because majority of the centers in the league are veterans, right? If you think about it, like I'd say J. Mike last year, John Michael was the only true rookie starting center in the entire NFL week 1. Right. And then like even Steve Avila, who went in the second, who's going to play center for the Rams this year, played left guard last year. Okay. Right. Like very rarely and if you draft someone in the 1st round and even in the 2nd round, like you expect them to play right away. Right. Like they're contributors. But so much is on the center's plate that very, very rarely do head coaches and GMs want to put a rookie center out there. Like, they don't love that, especially if you pair him with like a rookie quarterback or something like that. Like, they want to have a veteran presence at center. And so you can take a center in the 4th or the 5th, have them develop, right? And maybe they're not the athletic freak in the world, but then you're like, okay, in year 3, I can trust you to come be our starting center after you've spot started at guard, or maybe you've played a year and you've got some playing experience under your belt. And now I feel like I can put the load of being the center of the quarterback of the O-line on your shoulders now, which I didn't feel like I could do as a rookie.
Okay.
Right. And so I think that's a little bit of what happens with why you don't see a ton of centers go early.
Yeah.
Right. Linderbaum is one of the few that went in the first. Like Bradbury went in the first.
Yep.
But usually if you're the top center, you're going in the second round. Like that's just kind of the industry
Like
standard.
Mack was
That's
a
a great
second
point,
rounder.
though. You're not going to come in as a rookie. Very rarely are you going to come in. Like Mike played really well last year, and there's things that he learned at center. But at the same time, when you talk about a team developing and a nucleus, like there's not a lot of teams that the quarterback isn't in charge. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more veteran quarterbacks right now than there are rookie quarterbacks, and a lot of those guys are like, I don't need you to tell me what to do. Kirk Cousins doesn't need a center to tell him where to slide. He's going to tell you where to slide. Like eventually those quarterbacks like you to listen to them. Hey, I want to go here. Now, it's a great story that Jay told because it happens all the time. But there is a lot of times that they're like, hey, if this comes up, I'm in control. And you're like, got it. Whatever you want, man. As long as you understand, if you get fucking hit, it's your fucking fault. Like, we don't want to do this.
Quarterback needs to feel comfortable with whatever's about to happen.
And he has to know, and you have to know, this is how you build trust with each other. Like, you're like, okay, I'm going to let you call the reins until this shit gets wild, and then we're taking back over because it's not going to be your ass that gets in trouble. It's going to be ours always. Like, you can't get in that room and then be like, why is our quarterback getting fucking carried off by the trainers? Well, he wanted to go load it. Like, they're like, that ain't good enough, stupid. We said that we're going to do that, and this coach, you don't understand out there. He's pulling the reins on me. Like, but we saw this look and we talked to him like, he said he wanted to go fucking load it. What do you want me to do? Like, everyone's listening to him. And it's like, you don't want that friction ever. So it's always great to be on the same page, but you don't see a lot of centers going early because they are veterans and they work themselves into that position and integrity and toughness, and they're smart as fuck. You don't just come in this league and know what a 2 and a 4 and a 6 and a 1 and a 3 and go, hey, they're going to buzz down here. Watch this. Like, these kids are like, dude, what the fuck did he
They're
just
like,
say?
wait, that's Dexter Lawrence across from me, right? Like,
Exactly.
there's enough to worry about, and it's hard for rookie centers to play. It is tough.
Shout out to J Mike, dude. Did it and fucking.
Yeah.
He's such a badass. He's such a funny dude. I was thinking about him this offseason. We went to breakfast, and when he called one of our rookies pretending to be the Giants scout, and I was like, this is so wrong. Like I told you, comedy is funny all the time, no matter where you are. And the way that rookie was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Jay Mike's over here like, he could barely hold it in. He's like, I can't do this anymore. So where you at right now? And he was like, you could tell he was so nervous to tell me he was in Houston. He's like, I'm actually just getting off a flight in Houston. He's like, oh, you go to see the Texans? They're more important than us? He's, no. I was like, dude, this is
So mean, dude.
It's
That's
so funny.
So mean.
Welcome to the locker room.
Yeah. Cloquet 33 wants to know. So just for some background here, on Sunday, only 46 players can be active. So there's 7 players that are deactivated or inactive on game day.
Eat a ton of hot dogs at halftime. Yep.
No stress.
No stress fine.
Because you can't get put in the game. Yeah.
Yep.
So Cloquet 33 wants to know, why can't all 53 players just suit up and play on game day? Why are we deactivating 7?
That'd be way too easy.
It's a fairness thing, right? It's so if one team has 4 dudes injured,
okay,
right? Think about it. Like, if that team has 4 guys that are key guys injured, right, and then the other team has no guys injured, it's not really fair. Right, so it's just basically a way of saying, like, hey, every week you have to have at least 7 guys down, right? It's more of a competition fairness thing, but yeah, I mean, being the down guy is the most non-stressed, hanging out, chilling, like, ever. Like, I mean, literally,
that,
dude. No, at halftime, I used to in 2016 I was inactive quite often or 2015 when I first got traded to the Vikes. I was inactive for like 8 or 10 games. And anytime it was a home game in the Gopher Stadium, like halftime, I went directly into the little lounge. There was hot dogs, there was chicken strips, there was PB&Js, and you're like, gotta be back out there in 5 minutes. Oh, wait, take one for the road.
Are the active players plowing snacks at halftime?
No, not really, because
not like
I would
that.
have
They'll
oranges.
have like oranges.
Yeah,
but
I'd
like,
have oranges.
not like. I mean, I'm
Dude.
talking like it's back in the like family area, right?
You
They're
have to
setting
go
it up for
back
like
there.
post game.
Jeremiah's up in the club suites
But
with
no,
the fans.
They're like
Everyone.
Everybody. EQ at San Francisco used to have it in their room, and you would walk in, like, because you'd in preseason when they were like, you're out, you'd be like untaping, like racing to get back there, and it would be like the head coach, the OC, the DC, and they'd be like, we get priority back here, and you'd be like, fuck you, dude, you're just taking a million hot dogs. It's hilarious what goes on at halftime. Like, when you're in season and you're in the moment and they're pissed, it's not very funny. But when you're deactivated, I remember in 16, I got a deactivation fine and a no-show fine because they told me not to come to the game because I had a concussion.
Yeah, concussion.
So I got fined twice.
No stress, no travel.
Wow. I'm already starting to trigger, dude. That brought back so many. No travel.
So
no stress,
we had
no
so
travel.
the fine list, right? We talk about the fine list a lot, but like the big fines came in the in-game fines. Like that was where the bulk of the money in the pot came from, right? Like a sack was like $150, a holding was $100, like an ME was $150. Like so, like
on the ground, OTG,
like on the ground was like $50. So you would rack up big time fine money for playing. Well, we were like, well, that's not really fair if you don't play. And we're like, it's really not fair if you don't even dress. And so if you were deactivated, you got hit with a $200 no stress fine, right? Just hang out, boys. And so you'd be like, damn it, right? $200. But then if you were like Alex, if you couldn't come to the game, or if like it was an away game and then you wouldn't go, you would get hit with a another $200 fine for no travel. So it's no stress, no travel. So you're just chilling at home, but you paid $400 for it, right? Like, and so it was all encompassing. Like, money definitely.
Wait, who? And then the money at the end of the season. What is that?
We'd all go on a trip.
Okay.
Vegas. We went to Vegas, and after the 16th season and the 17th season, we went down to Miami on a big old line.
So you just give it to an MGM property or Steve Wynn or whoever the hell.
I mean, we paid
Aria.
for. We went to Aria.
Oh,
the Aria.
And then we paid Aria, and then we went to
dinner.
Hakkasan. We went to dinner. We went to a big dinner at SDK.
Oh, dude, we went and saw Tiesto.
And then we went
and
to
we got to
Hakkasan,
hang out with
stage
Tiesto.
table, and then the next night we went to XS for Marshmallow. Like, yeah, it was a great time. I miss Vegas.
I miss
go,
it,
man.
We should
Live show in Vegas.
trip. Live show.
Hey, if you want to join the Mackey plan, Thanksgiving in Vegas, Thanksgiving football.
Oh no! You're here with me.
Oh, that's
I
right.
told
We already
you.
talked about
You're
that.
here with
Sorry.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're playing.
Okay. We'll find another time on the calendar.
Dude, by the way, I just want everybody to know that probably people are like, "Oh, this is fucked up. They're fighting each other." We loved it. Like
Oh, it
you
was
knew
great.
the fine. Okay, and I will say this: we weren't total assholes. Okay, like every holiday we would do something with the money, whether we would donate it for
Turkeys.
Thanksgiving
We
we
did
gave it to
turkeys.
turkeys, Christmas we gave it to gift giving, like and Tony was huge in that, like, and he was very proud that we were always like, because dude, the fines some weeks were like $5.
Was it cash
was a
only?
lot.
Did
Yeah.
you guys have a
No,
like
what
a
do you
credit
think, you're
card
fucking,
system?
like
Cash.
Apple Pay here? No, dude,
Yeah.
it was like
Straight
Where do I
cash.
if you
swipe
didn't
my
have
card?
it, if you didn't have it by Tuesday,
Late
it was
fine.
another fine.
And then it would double.
Dude.
It would start
and then
to double.
I came and found it. Oh, I'd fucking I was
Because
pissed
I was
sometimes.
the ledger, and so I was also the cash collector, and so I billed quarterly, right? So I'd say, hey, it's quarter time. You have to have your money by Monday. If you don't have it here by Monday, and then it's not here by Wednesday, it doubles, right? Like in it could be like from 400 to 800, and then it doubled again, 800 to 1600. Like,
it went up quick.
and there was a couple guys that forgot to pay a few times and drove
wait.
to my house. Like in Minnesota, like I have it. It's not doubling. I'm like, oh, thank you for your $2,000.
Who determines the
I think
so
it
like
was me once. I think it was me
holding
once.
holding is clear cut. Who determines the ME is a missed
coach? It's all off the coach's
coach.
grade.
It's
Okay.
not hard.
Off the-
we
off
all
the
could.
coach's
We could
grade.
all technically be like, "That's an ME, dumbass." Like you
Yeah.
totally went to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
But
know what's funny too?
there
is-
was some
lying
kangaroo
fines?
court like a pillow fine for like general overall softness. Like if you
Yeah.
didn't touch someone, you'd be like, oh, that's close there for a pillow. And so like you could ding them, and then you had the opportunity to rebuttal it. And like if you rebutted it, it would obviously take the ding away. But if you rebutted it and we found that you were guilty, it doubled. Right, like so there was definitely a kangaroo courts in session
Welcome to the
every
court.
single day.
and you were fighting guys like me and Jeremiah and Tony every day, and we were all like, "No,
if
we
you were a
want
rookie,
your money."
If you were a rookie, you didn't even try.
Has
Like, your
anyone
money's
ever been
ours.
caught like skimming money out of the?
Oh my
No,
god,
no,
are
no,
you
no, no, no,
fucking
no.
crazy? Dude, I've seen guns brought to work before over stupid
I
shit.
know, dude.
I'm
it's
not
crazy.
kidding you. I saw the first gun I saw was my rookie year, like in a locker room, and he was like, "Yo, motherfucker, you owe me that money." And the dude was like, "Yo, I got it today, like today." Like I was like, "Dude, money in the NFL is sacred, and
Well,
if
what
it
I-
ever gets
so-
touched out of our room, it was on."
I would collect, and then to make sure, I would give it to Tony. Right, so I was like, the only time I ever had the cash was at the end when I collected, and then at the end of the year. And that's something when you go to your local bank with 50 grand in cash and different assortment of bills.
Yeah.
Right, you got 20s, 5s. When you're like, can I have hundreds for this, please? And they're like, you a drug dealer? Or like, why do you want 50 grand in cash? And it's like, I'm going to Vegas. And they're like, oh, okay. And like walking, dude. I remember flying to Vegas. I held my backpack on the front of me. right? Because I had 50 grand cash in there, and I was just
Isn't
like,
that it? Don't you have to report anything over 10?
I don't know, I didn't, but like I was just walking through,
or is it
like
just international? Maybe
I was
Like,
just walking through the airport, like gripping this bag like this. 'cause
But
I was
dude,
like,
they-
if
so
I
that
lose
bag
this, I'm
goes-
on the hook. Like I'm
that-
fully on
you
the
would have
hook.
died. You would have
That
died.
bag goes through the security belt, and they're like backing it up. You know, they're looking at people's toothbrush bags, and they're looking at like, oh, there's a laptop. There's $50,000 in
Yeah.
the backpack.
Yeah. I
As
didn't
that
get
guy
stopped.
nervously stands outside.
I
the-
literally like I was just like I put it through the thing and I ran to the other side and I was just staring at it like, okay, get it off the belt, get it off the belt. Like, okay, back to my chest.
Who's
Like,
the nervous, sweaty guy waiting for his $50,000?
Dude, the
as
best
soon
one
as
was-
I got there, I handed it to Alex and I was like, this is no longer my responsibility. I don't want this anymore. You deal with this.
Oh my god.
we took care of it that night. We had a fucking blast.
We had a
dude.
good time.
We did some great things.
Man. Well, okay, those are the dumb football questions here for the week on O-line committee. Some good ground covered there, boys.
Had
Those
to.
were some
good stuff.
interesting conversations today.
And we do have a bunch of people asking us. We keep teasing guests
I
and
know.
saying
I'm
we're
trying.
going
I
to
reached
I
out
know.
to Richie. I reached out to Richie this week. Him and I are going to connect soon and hopefully get him on the show. Ornberg.
I'm reaching out to Phil. I'll reach out to Phil.
Phil Holt. Okay.
Yep,
Give
I'll
me
take care of
assign me a couple names if you want to, and I will we'll this summer we plan to get some guests and tell
And for
some
everybody
stories
asking
here.
for a defensive end, we are not bringing a defensive end on in the first 100 fucking interviews. Not happening. We are going strictly O-line quarterback, maybe even a running back. I got a few in mind that I think would be great to bring on. Maybe a diva receiver that could fucking hang with us. Some tough guys. We'll see if Randy wants
think
to come on.
Diggs
How
would-
about
I think
Randy
Diggs would
trying
come
to
on.
fucking cheat? Huh? Randy, you motherfucker. Acting like you weren't wearing that stick 'em on your hands. That's some bullshit.
Randy, you got Randy's number. Let's get Diggsy on. I think Stefan.
We can get Diggs on.
We could
can
easily
Diggsy
get
on.
Diggs on. We
Diggsy
love
would come
Diggs.
on.
Let's make it happen.
We'll make
this
it happen.
summer. And
We'll
you guys
get on
are,
it.
You guys are busy. I'm busy. O-line committee. That's Alex over there in the corner. Jeremiah Sirles, Phil Mackey here. We'll see you guys next time.